Now, we can use our NetworkManager utilities almost as a replacement to Netplan, but we're not completely overwriting Netplan. We'll echo those changes back into Netplan. Let me show you. We can check our network connections. Once we've identified the name of our connection, we can then go through and modify it. When we modify it, here we're setting our IP address. When we bring the connection back up, we're also going to be synchronizing the changes back through to Netplan, so we don't completely lose our Netplan configuration. Our current configuration becomes the Netplan configuration. Another really useful tool is that we can start discovering settings that could be useful. When we go through and, let's say, look for our ENS33 connection and search for IP version 6, we can see all of the IP version 6 settings. One of those settings is how we generate our own portion of IP version 6 addresses. Usually it's going to be based around the MAC address, but we can put stable privacy, and in this way the generation is going to be purely random and won't reflect your MAC address. Again, we can make those changes and they will be reflected back into Netplan. So why don't we dive out to our command line so we can see how we can make all of this come together. Now, from our command line, we are really going to be able to demonstrate some of the simplicity of our configuration. I still probably would manage it through Netplan, but we can certainly discover settings. So let's go through and elevate our privileges. And we'll begin by clearing out some of our added configuration. So I'm moving through to the etc Netplan and the 50 cloud init file. I can authenticate to sudo, and I just want to delete the addresses that we have added in. I can do this by going through and selecting. So I'm just now holding my shift key down and just moving my arrow key across so I can select the text. And once I've had everything selected that I want, I can delete everything. We can see from the menu there is a Control and K, and that is for cut. So all I need to do now is Control and K, and we delete those lines. I'm ready with my configuration now, so let me save it. So Control and C, and the configuration is saved, but of course I need to apply it. So sudo netplan and try. We're always really going to do it this safe way. Everything is working, so I can hit enter. But let's go back now and look at Netplan and status. And from the output of the status command, we can see now that we just have our dynamically assigned IP address. So let's go through now and look at our Network Manager from the command line. We can display the names of the connections. Each of our connection is a logical connection. There's not a one-to-one relationship with a device. I can have multiple connections pointing through to one device and activate connections as I need, such as for DHCP or a static address. I'm going to go through now and use modify, and I can use tab completion once I've typed the MOD. I can use tab completion just by typing N for my connection name. And then I can go through and use IP version 4 dot and then AD and tab complete on that. But of course, I can't tab complete on the IP address. I'm going to have to type that. So put in the IP address and the subnet mask, and we can hit enter on that. So now we've added in the 100.101 address. We need to make sure that we bring the connection up with this configuration, and this will also enforce that we synchronize back to Netplan. So let's go back and take a look at the output of Netplan and status. And we should be able to see now that we've got the additional IP address, which we do, the 192.168.100.101, as well as our DHCP address. The configuration file that has been created, we're going to be able to list that within the Netplan directory. And we can see that it's created with a higher priority, the new configuration. And if we view that, so sudo and cat, escape and dot will bring up the directory path, and then I can just hit 9 and then the tab key, and it will complete. We can see that we've added in the IP address for our IP4.address1. So perhaps for those people that are used to using Network Manager, the migration to Ubuntu isn't going to be difficult. But let's go through now and take a look at all of the settings for our ENS33 network card. And of course, there are a lot. But look how we can discover our settings. Let's go through and grep for IPv6 settings. And one of those settings that we can see is the address gen mode. And it's set to the default or the EUI64. So both of those are going to be basing their configuration around the MAC address. We can change that by going through and taking a look at modifying our settings again. This time we're going to put IP version 6. And again, we don't need to know too much. We can just go through and put our ADDR and tab, and we get then our gen mode. I don't even need to know the options. We can tab on the options. So I can see stable privacy. With this, then we're randomly generating our client part of an IP version 6 address. And if we go back and search now for the word up, Control R, searching for up, we can bring our network card back up, and that will have synchronized through to the same file that we were looking at before. So that is an effective setting. And if we go through and take a look in that same Network Manager file inside of the Netplan directory, we're able to see our configuration. We can see it sitting there, our IP version 6 address generation, stable, privacy. And the big takeaway from this demonstration is it really doesn't matter if you're coming from a Red Hat environment and you are familiar with using NMCLI, or whether you're coming from an Ubuntu environment. You can use your favored tool, either Netplan or NMCLI, but you are not excluding either configuration.